Hey, this is David Summers from the Sales and Customer Enablement team. I'm with Nico Ochoa, Strategic Account Leader for the Enterprise West team. Nico, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much.
So Nico created this executive briefing document for a recent customer meeting that had Sid attend with a high-level executive at the customer. And Sid loved this so much that we're making this a standard template. So we invited Nico to share a little bit more about, hey, what is this document? How was it created, et cetera. We've also updated the template to align with some of the command of the message framework that we recently were exposed to at the global sales training. So let's kick this off. So Nico, can you give us a little bit of context? We've redacted the customer name here to protect the innocent, but what did you create this for from the beginning? What is this about?
So I was working with a company trying to break in there and bring in GitLab. I have as an existing customer of mine from a previous employment opportunity I had, and we had some interest there. Just didn't have the executive buy-in. And so I have a champion / influencer there. He saw the value of GitLab, but just needed more influence to basically open up for a proof of concept. So this actually kind of came about with some collaboration with my champion influencer at this company to really basically gain the output or the end result of getting GitLab in at a POC and getting support from the VP level to free up some resources, time and people.
Nice. And this was, so tell me a little bit more about in terms of who'd you share this with and how did you go about creating, before we dig into each of the sections briefly, who did you create it for and how did you go about filling it out?
Sure. So this wasn't, this format or template wasn't necessarily shared with my champion or sponsor. It was really just me kind of taking some notes and having kind of an interview style with this individual. We both had some shared goals and aligned. And basically this document was created for Sid, really, because the goal was to have this VP and chief architect meet with Sid face to face. And so really the intention of this is to basically brief Sid on what are we doing, why are we doing it, what does this individual need to know about GitLab, and what's a differentiator, and really what are we from the account team looking for at the end of this meeting. And the outcome was we want him to, the VP at this company, to allocate resources to a proof of concept. So when that was all said and done, it just comes back to the 5 W's, the who, the what, the where, the when, the whys. You fill it out there. So the intention here is that Sid can look at it, feels comfortable what he's doing, what his role is, and what we're looking to get out of the meeting, and minimize any questions that Sid may have of us if we've done our job correctly.
Awesome. All right, so you've covered the 5 W's here. Now, what about the customer interview? This is where we've infused some of the force management components here. Can you take a moment to speak to this?
So really, again, I think it's key to have somebody there, I think, at a company, and you may not always have this, but that can give you very kind of transparent, what are they facing, what do they need, some of the issues that they're running into. And so I actually had a really good, almost 2-hour meeting with this champion sponsor where we basically whiteboard out their whole entire dev cycle. And we saw all the bottlenecks, where they're failing, the silos, and then after that, we basically hit on areas that this VP would gravitate to. Things like multi-cloud is one of them. Ease of use, the single pane of glass, those types of things are motivators for this VP. And so through all of that, we were able to provide what the outcomes need to be, what the challenges were, why GitLab does it better, and what this VP need to hear from Sid. That basically kind of mirrored to that.
Excellent. And I see how earlier you outlined the objective and the goals for the meeting, but I also like how you get real specific, saying like this particular meeting, what does success look like? So was this helpful when you shared with Sid to be real pointed about this particular engagement, what you're looking for?
Yeah, because you don't want Sid to go into a meeting and not know what the expected outcome is or what it should be, what we're looking for. It could be, is it awareness? Do we want a future onsite with a higher level? Are we looking for a proof of concept? And so we had very clear goals as to what we're looking for with this meeting. We knew from having our conversations with the organization, with our champion and influencer, sponsor, that in order for them to move forward, they needed mind share from a VP level. And this is what we're seeking. We're seeking to have this meeting with Sid and this VP. The outcome, the output that we were seeking was to get concurrence that we could go forward with a proof of concept, which we did get, and which we actually are wrapping up right now on.
Excellent. So I see here listing out the explicit agenda that's not only shared with Sid, but shared externally with the customer.
Correct.
The roles for the meeting, you want to say any more about that?
Yeah, so this was a face-to-face meeting, this one. We also do them for remote as well, too. It doesn't really change. But really, Hayden was actually on site with this one due to his proximity. I've done these as well, too, in person and also remote. But as a facilitator, your job is to keep the conversation moving towards the goals. Obviously, Sid, you want him to provide the executive vision, and you give some points as to what you're trying to get from Sid, and make sure that's clear and concise. And then, of course, I also input any additional background on the company as well that may be pertinent to the conversation.
Excellent. And then I see reserve some space too to capture meeting notes and action items after the meeting takes place. Hey, thank you so much, Nico. Really appreciate it. And thanks for leadership for establishing this and now using this as a best in class template that we can use for future customer briefings. So thank you.
Thanks, David.